Hey everyone, it's Lindy and welcome to Rainbow Body today. This is a channel where I talk about spiritual and metaphysical topics, spiritual awakening, and bizarre and weird spiritual stuff. So this channel is interesting. I got a lot of other good videos that you could go check out, but today we are going to talk about perceptions that people have of spiritually awakened people, perceptions that people, maybe misconceptions that some people have about healers and spiritually awakened people, that we're supposed to be a certain way, and what it is really like, at least what it's really been like for me to have a spiritual awakening. And also, I want to talk about this shift that we are currently going through and some tidbits on my perception of the shift and my perception of how people really should be moving through this shift. So let's get started because there's a few things that I want to go over today in the video. So I was inspired to make this video today because I've been coming across, I've just had some interesting interactions lately with people, and sometimes it seems like the world is becoming more divided, even though I know that that's not true. But there is a very loud minority of people that make it seem that the world is out to get us. So I just had some interesting interactions, and it got me to thinking that maybe I need to clear some things up. A lot of people think that when you go through a spiritual awakening, it's just like all amazing. It's all just like kittens and rainbows, and it's all totally zenned out for us all the time. And that spiritually awakened people, spiritual people, healers, people like that, we just sit at the top of a mountain all day long and meditate, and it's nothing but peace and love and light for us. Well, that's like a major misconception, okay? Because that's really not how it is. We still are human beings, for sure, and have our own challenges and struggles, and are not spiritual gurus or anything like that. We just happen to have been awakened to the greater reality of things, and are really trying to help others awaken to the greater reality as well. Okay, and we are human beings, like I said, and we have opinions and viewpoints on a lot of things, okay? Yeah, like I know this channel, I talk about spirituality a lot, and self-care, and just those types of topics. But I, believe it or not, have opinions of what is going on in the world right now. I have political viewpoints of my own. I have likes and dislikes, okay? And I have an ego. Yes, I do. Yes, I do try to live a more heart-centered life every single day, and I believe that over time my ego has taken more and more of a backseat in my life. But it's important for people who are maybe not so into spirituality, or they don't have a profession where spirituality is part of their daily life, so they're not a healer or light worker. It's important for other people to understand that we are still human beings. Okay? So yeah, and guess what? We make mistakes, and we have different viewpoints that may not agree with yours. Okay? So that's important, to realize that we are human, and we have likes and dislikes, and just like everyone else out there. Okay? And so a spiritual awakening, it's, yes, you do find out really awesome things, like that you are divine and that God lives within you and you are a sovereign being, okay? That can really create your own reality, right? And you're also aware that the planet, the solar system, and individually and collectively as a human race, we are going through a shift, a great shift that has not happened in tens of thousands of years to humanity, okay? So yeah, you get all that. And so you find out about these wonderful, wonderful things that you were conditioned to believe was not the case, okay? At least that's how it was for me. I didn't come into this world like knowing all this great stuff that God lives within me, right? And that I'm a healer and I'm a starseed and an indigo. I didn't know that stuff younger. I was conditioned just like everyone else is conditioned to think that God lives outside of you, and this and that. So that's the positive side of a spiritual awakening is, yes, I did find my calling, my true life path. I found that, and I learned the benefits of meditation. I got really into holistic health. There's a lot of really positive things, okay? And, I realized that part of my mission is to assist with this shift, assist people on a deeper level with the shift that is happening right now. But at the same time, as your spiritual knowledge and wisdom deepens in your spiritual awakening, and you discover all these wonderful things about human beings, okay, and yourself, you also, at the same time, because you are gaining more spiritual wisdom and you really are embodying that more, so you also find out about these really dark things that have been happening in the world, okay? You find out about that, and it's like for the first time, at least this is how it was for me. I can't speak for others, but I know absolutely there are others that feel this exact same way as me. But it's like I found out all this great stuff, and then at the same time, because you're more equipped, like you're more equipped to handle the truth, things that I kind of just wrote off as conspiracy theories, or they were so horrible I couldn't believe they were happening, those types of things came forward to me as well. And for the first time in my life, I was actually able to look at some things and realize that they were in fact happening. And one of the big, huge ones is that there are dark forces, okay, that have been controlling and manipulating human society forever, like for a very long time, okay? It kind of started this current power structure that we have in the world, okay? That originated all the way back in ancient Egypt, okay? So I learned a lot about, if you want to call them the Illuminati, I don't like using that term because I really don't feel that they are the illuminated ones at all whatsoever. They tap into really, really dark entities, dark energy, and dark magic that is out there that you can tap into. Now that is the easier way, and that is the way for people, usually very young souls, okay, are going to be drawn to money, power, greed, and just all of this, right? But there is a power structure that works behind the scenes that has been running the world, okay? And so when you find out about that stuff too. At the same time, you're finding all this wonderful stuff out, but it's like you're able to see the world. It's like the blanket has been removed from over your eyes, and you are, for the first time, able to see the world for really what it is. It's like a greater reality, right? And it is very similar to that movie, The Matrix. It's very much like that. Like Neo, he gets pulled out of the Matrix, and he finds some amazing things out about himself, right? But he also finds out some really dark stuff and some forces of evil that he has to learn how to conquer. So it is very similar. A spiritual awakening, at least mine, was like that, okay? It was very much like that. And so what people should try to understand anyway is that spiritual people have a very different way of viewing the world than a lot of other people do. And for me, that is based on all this esoteric knowledge I know, everything I have found within myself, everything I've learned from spirit guides, meditation, reading books about consciousness. I've read so many books about consciousness and the afterlife, life between lives, all of this stuff I have learned about that has really, really helped me and really changed my viewpoint on a lot of hardships that people go through here on earth. It's kind of helped me get out and escape the victim mentality that a lot of people have, where there's a victimizer and there's a victim. Well, I've learned that that's really like not how it works. And we are viewing things in a certain perception, but it's not the entire perception. There's a whole spiritual aspect of things, okay? So if you're a spiritual person, you look into these things and you realize that there's a spiritual aspect to everything, including the cabal, or the men and women, or whatever they are, that run the world and that don't have humanity's best interest in mind, okay? There's a spiritual aspect to that as well. So that really has an effect on spiritual people's worldviews, the way they view the world. And also spiritual people are able to see the manipulation. They're able to see how a lot of humanity is still falling for this great lie and manipulation. And what am I talking about? Well, a great example of this would be the mainstream media, okay? The mainstream media has been lying and manipulating the story so that they can manipulate how people perceive things, okay? And they use the collective consciousness against the collective consciousness, because they realize, someone does, I'm not saying all the newscasters know this and they're in on it, but I'm just saying that the mainstream media manipulates our perception of what is actually taking place and manipulates the way we would view certain political things that are going on in the world, okay? So, it can be hard for spiritually awakened people, because, like, sometimes I just want to scream out on the top of the rooftops, like, wake up, people, like, please wake up, like, it is time to wake up. It is time to realize that I'm not the enemy, okay? And I have a different view on things than people that watch the news have, okay? The people that watch the news and really trust the news, and then people who don't, are probably going to have a very, very, very different viewpoint on certain hot topics that are hot at the moment and certain things that are going on in the world. So I guess I just wanted to take some time to explain that because, being a spiritually awakened person, yeah, it has so many wonderful, wonderful aspects to it. And I would never ever go back, okay? I would never take the blue pill, if you want to say that. I'm glad I was red pilled. I'm glad I'm awakened to this greater reality. But, really it can be hard when, also this shift, okay? I want to talk about the shift too. Old energy dies hard, and of course we're going through a paradigm shift. We're moving into a new paradigm, a whole new energy, okay, that humanity has really never seen before, at least not here on Earth. We've never seen it, we've never lived through it, and it's very, very different, okay, and it's really more about heart-centered energy, okay, living in love and light, and living in integrity, right? And so everything needs to be, that's why you're seeing so much transparency, and we're finding out that a lot of things are not as they seemed. They're not as they seemed, and you're finding this in every aspect, and all the corruption and all the darkness is coming to the light. So that's very, very exciting. But you have to realize that there are still a lot of people who are falling for the grand illusion, okay? There are people who are still falling for that, and those people are in the old paradigm, okay? It's the old energy, and old energy dies hard. It goes out with a blaze. It goes out kicking and screaming, okay? The old energy does not want to die. So, how does that manifest in human beings? Well, what you will find is if, you actually put your opinion out there, if this is what happened, not to me, but this is something I experienced, okay? I put my opinion out there on something that's going on in the world what really upset me is that the news was, of course, manipulating the way it was perceived by people to get them to sway a certain way on the issue, okay, on this topic. And so I was, going on social media saying how the news was exaggerating this and they were lying to us, and it's time that people wake up and realize that we're being manipulated and lied to. Well, someone got very, very upset with me, and called me all kinds of horrible names and was just very angry and hateful towards me, and calling me a fake and a phony, just all this stupid stuff, right? And I just realized that that's the old energy. So it's just better for me to, sometimes you gotta block people. Sometimes you gotta block people on social media. I hate to do that, but it's better because I'm not going to entertain their ideas. If they're calling me names, I'm not going to entertain that. I just have to send them love and light and, pray that they do wake up sooner or later and go on with really assisting the people who want it. The people who are waking up and the people who really, really want to be part of this new paradigm and be part of the shift. People who want that, that's who us healers, light workers, indigo, starseeds, that's who we need to focus on, are the people who really, really want this. They want healing, they want to be lighter, they want to be more full of love and light, and they want more of that. Those are the people that we need to focus on. Some other things to keep in mind too during the shift for light workers, healers, indigo, starseeds, all of us, just spiritually awakened people, it's really important to understand, yes, our job is to uplift people and heal people and help them, okay, and really show them the way. But also sometimes our job is to shed light on dark issues, dark matter, dark spiritual things that are going on. Sometimes our job is to be authentic and really speak our truth. And if we know something that's really dark, sometimes our job is to bring that to the light. Okay, so being a spiritual person, it's not just all, like uplifting and happy and rainbows and butterflies. Sometimes it's about talking about hard issues or darker issues, not so fun issues, talking about those things so they can be brought to the light, right? And also for light workers out there and just people who are at the forefront of this shift, we also have to understand that we are pioneers, and pioneers never have an easy time, right? Because no one's done it before us, okay? Any other time that people like me and people like you have tried to be themselves and really do what we do, we've been shunned for it and really cast aside. And right now in this new paradigm shift, I'll just call it that. There are many names for it, but I'm just going to call it the paradigm shift. As we move through this, we have to realize that when we get hit with, in the face with people resisting what we're saying or resisting awakening, that's really what they're doing, is resisting the awakening and resisting the shift. But when we get hit head on with that kind of stuff, we just have to remember that there are a lot of people that are still not awakened, and they are just responding based on their current knowledge and their current wisdom, okay? And so basically what I'm saying is they don't know any better. And it's best to just be as gentle and loving as you possibly can with those people, and then move on, and then focus on the people who really want it, because there's a lot of people out there who really want healing, who really want to learn more about the spiritual aspect of this shift that's going on, and so much of it is spiritual. Or quantum, the quantum aspect of this shift. There are people out there who are thirsty for that and want it and want to know about it. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, trying to rationalize with people who are resisting and fighting against you and still following for the mainstream propaganda that they throw in our face, those people, you can try to explain yourself to them, but it's usually best to just leave them alone and hope that they wake up sooner or later. Really this time too is about learning to work together, learning to come together despite your differences, okay? And people who are in the old paradigm are not gonna want to even try to understand someone else's perspective. But that really is a huge lesson in this new paradigm shift for sure. It's a huge lesson that we all are working on, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just work with everyone, regardless if they are coming from a different place or not. But if they are resisting too much and don't want to hear me and don't want to try to come to a mutual conclusion or a mutual understanding, then it's best to just focus on others who do want it. And yeah, and also part of the reason I made this video too is because people have a tendency to put spiritual coaches, healers, intuitives, just people like me, on this pedestal. Like we're supposed to be these perfect human beings, like we are Jesus Christ. And I am sorry, we are not the second coming of Christ. We are just people who happen to be a little bit higher on the wisdom curve than some others out there, but that does not make us saints and that does not make us perfect. We are still human, and it's really, really important for people to remember that, especially about spiritual people. You know, we are just human, okay? Yeah, what else here? Yeah, you know, I mean, spiritual people, they're just open to a greater reality that involves love, light, and the divine. And, you know, it also involves dark, distorted deceptions, you know, that are not what they seem in every aspect of society. So you become awakened to that. But that's not what my life is about by any means. It's not about like darkness and deception. But sometimes it's about talking about those things and bringing them forward, because that is a huge, huge thing that's happening right now. Is everything's being brought to the light. You know, everything is, and we will get there more holistically in the future. Can I give you an exact time that that's going to happen? No, I think it's going to be a very, very gradual thing that happens over decades. That's what I think, you know. But it is going to happen, and we're just going through the really hard time of the transition right now, and there's still a lot of resistance. I don't know. So I guess this video is wrapped up. I just felt like speaking my mind on that topic today, because I've been running into a lot of interesting things. A lot of people really upset. A lot of people really closed off, not wanting to hear what's really going on. And that's okay. We will just keep pushing along, right? So without that message, I will let you guys go for now. Those of you who are still watching, much love and light your way, many blessings, and of course, may the force be with you as always, and I will see you soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I look forward to hearing any comments on this video in the comments section below. Alright, goodbye guys.